I wanted to talk a bit about my experience. First year as a YouTuber, a bit about my background. I'm a sort of filmmaker, writer, sort of photographer, all of the above. I've dabbled in so many different creative endeavors. And at one point, I had a conversation with someone asking them whether their son was interested in TikTok. This was about 2 years ago. And to my surprise, he said, no, my son is really into YouTube, particularly YouTube Shorts. He goes on there for hours watching sneaker reviews and such. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Is TikTok losing its grip on the market? And I got thinking, wait a minute, there's so much potential in this day and age where Hollywood is going. And as a filmmaker, a video maker, there's so much you can do and you can control yourself. You're practically your own studio, distributor. You can do everything. Granted, how big your dreams are. If you're looking to do a sci-fi epic, even that's feasible these days with things like Unreal 5 and the advent of AI. So I decided to start a YouTube channel. And initially I thought of doing something like what I'm doing now, gear review, talk about photography, filmmaking, cinematography, editing, all those type of things. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, a master of none, but I know how to do everything. And I'm not saying that as a braggadocio. I do know how to do everything when it comes to video and film because I was trained for it. Yeah, there's someone behind me. I didn't know it. I just felt some presence. They probably think I'm crazy. So I just realized that one day and I decided to do a film nerd kind of YouTube channel where I talk about movies and what I find interesting about them. I was hearing about shorts, like YouTube's answer to TikTok. I started a few of those and they were getting a lot of views. Like to me at the time, a couple hundred views, 1,000 views. Like the first day, 1,000 views. You're like, wow, people like me. The Sally Field reference, anyone? Anyways, so I started researching interesting facts about movies, and I'm one of those guys that I'll just blurt out and mansplain interesting things about movies to random people, and to the point where they're like, man, get away from me. So I thought, why not I make use of that? And I started researching about different movies, and one of the first ones I did was about Darth Vader, how the character design was partly inspired by a real samurai. So I did this video and it got a few hundred views. I was like, oh, cool. So then I did another video when I found out that the movie The Warriors from 1979 was actually inspired by real gangs in the city of New York during the 60s and 70s. And the guy who wrote the book that the movie was based on was a social worker. And he was inspired by all these gangs to write this book because he was working with a lot of these guys. So I found that fascinating. So I did the research and I made this video and I put it on and it got a couple hundred views. I would change the thumbnail, change the title, change the description, a little bit more views. And at one point I just stopped, maybe after about 5 revisions. And next thing it got 100,000 views. And this was after a couple months. You just see the graph go like this. And I was astounded. I was getting these notifications nonstop. And I was blown away by the experience. And I thought to myself, not because of the attention, but the fact that I was able to share something interesting and other people were actually sending me these really cool messages, thanking me. And actual gang members from those days were saying what a good video it was. And others were correcting me. It created a discussion. So I decided to keep going. And that was my first 3 or 4 months on YouTube. And then I started getting all these I would look for advice from online, like from other YouTubers and such. You could get some good tips and some really bad tips. YouTube is competing with TikTok. They were really pushing the shorts. To get monetized at the time. You needed 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I did a short on Oppenheimer the movie. This is literally weeks or months before AI became, for ChatGPT and all this stuff, Mid-Journey. I was curious when I heard that Christopher Nolan was filming an actual explosion for the Oppenheimer movie, but I was trying to think, how can he be doing that? I researched online and I came across a few articles explaining how he was doing it with photos. So then I created a short and I used the photos and the information and I uploaded it. It's got like a few hundred views. And then after a few weeks, maybe a month or two, the views were exploding. And I was getting all these notifications. So I started getting exponential views week over week for this Oppenheimer video. And it just absolutely exploded with people telling me I'm an idiot. You're using AI photos. I'm like, what? So I looked, and sure enough, those photos I got off of a website, a legitimate website reporting these as pictures of the camera that Christopher Nolan was using. And it turns out they were AI. And at the time, I didn't know it. They were Mid-Journey. But like I said, this is before it all became a thing. So at this point, I was like, what can I do? There's already hundreds of thousands of views on this short, and that exploded to 1 million views. And I thought that's where it was going to stop. No, as of right now, we're almost at 10 million views, almost a year and a half later. And another thing was that I'm in Vancouver, and the first mayor of Vancouver, his name was pronounced Oppenheimer. So around Vancouver, we have parks and buildings. There may be a street, and everybody just says Oppenheimer. Of course, when the great physicist, you learn about him, we just kept saying Oppenheimer. And being in Canada, we didn't learn that much about him. We talked a little bit about Los Alamos, but more about the effects of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Oppenheimer wasn't very talked about too much, and the teachers didn't exactly tell us, pronounce it this way. We would just say Oppenheimer, just like this. I pronounced it Oppenheimer in the video. People freaked out, calling me an idiot. I've actually had to block, at this point, thousands of people, just kick them off the channel because I used to engage, try and answer comments, explaining the Mid-Journey, explaining Oppenheimer, and it just got futile. It just got worse and worse. So I finally just stopped, deleted all my replies. And now with YouTube, they have a feature where if you don't want somebody talking to you, you just kick them off. They can never go to your channel again, because the way I see it is somebody can take the time to make such an issue out of something so stupid. I don't have time for you. So kick them off the channel. So that's what I did. And yeah, because of this video, I got monetized pretty fast. But at this point, the Warriors video had stopped getting views, just a couple views here and there. And so it would have been great if I hit that 100,000 views after being monetized on a long form video, because on a short form video for Oppenheimer, it's generated a couple $100 at most, whereas a long form video, you can get a lot more if you get hundreds of thousands of views. Substantial, not, you can't quit your job. And that's one thing when you're doing YouTube is don't go into it thinking you're going to quit your day job. It can take a long time. And after a year, I'm up to 7,600 subscribers. I've made at most maybe $700 based on 10 million views. But when it comes to shorts, it's nothing. So YouTube is trying to compete with TikTok, but they're using shorts as a means to compete. So they relaxed a lot of the copyright rules. You get monetized a lot quicker. So one thing about YouTube is that about a couple years ago, they changed the CEOs. So yeah, the new guy takes over and he wants to compete with TikTok aggressively. And you think about shorts, there's less revenue payout for them, more views, and they get more market share. Try not to fall into the shorts trap. It's a totally different ballgame, and you just fall into that algorithm trap. My recommendation is that if you do a channel, decide if you're going to do long form
or short form. If you're going to do shorts, make sure they're related to your long form videos. And I wouldn't focus too much on the shorts. Otherwise, I would do a channel just for shorts that's separate from the channel that you're doing for your main stuff. Because the shorts audience, they're not the same as people who watch long form videos.
Shorts audiences are different than the long form audiences. There's a lot of guys out there that say you can do both, but from my experience, it's not. Shorts, if you're going to do shorts, just do shorts. But you're going to be competing with these losers that do multiple uploads a day. You got to compete with those guys. And you'll just be chasing your own tail at some point. If there's a way to make millions off of shorts by multiple channels, then go for it. Like number one, I would say if you're starting a channel, pick something you're interested in, because it's like you're getting married to the process, right? And if you just pick something because you think you're going to make money, say if the highest money making YouTube videos are finances, financial advice. But if you don't know anything about finances, then don't do it. I don't know anything about finances. I love movies, so I can talk about movies for hours and days and, whatnot. So it's easy.
So I started out as a faceless channel, and I used a lot of AI, and that helps quite a bit streamline a lot of things, but you can't become too dependent on it simply because you don't want to lose your edge and what makes you. And AI is good to a degree, and then you got to really put your own voice to it. So be cautious with how much AI you use. I think it's a great tool, but you can't be totally dependent on it. You'll see some YouTube channels talk about AI and using it to generate 100 videos in 5 minutes. And you know what? Those guys are just flooding the airwaves with garbage. And you don't want to do that. You just got to do what makes you passionate. So that's one other thing I recommend is don't fall into the algorithm trap where you're just doing what all these influencers are telling you, because you're just going to get lost. And another thing is also, they'll talk about using other social media to leverage and help promote your YouTube stuff. Approach it in a way where if I'm not benefiting from it, like the whole exposure argument, you don't want to be chasing different algorithms for different services. Instagram has these ridiculous requirements for trying to qualify for monetization. And so you'll find yourself just chasing that on top of YouTube. So they'll drive you insane. And so, yeah, that kind of goes back to the whole YouTube Shorts thing. It's more of a young person's game. And hey, if you're young, go for it. If you know how to do that, then yeah, it's great. See, what happened was I built a huge subscriber following within a short period of time based on a couple of really successful shorts, but it really hurt the channel. Nobody's watching the long videos where all the revenue is, and hence YouTube doesn't have to pay as much. So you have to be a little critical. All these influencers are pushing these things because that's what YouTube wants. My main tip is just to stick to a topic that you're passionate about. Find one format, stick with that, and it may take time to build an audience, but it'll be worth it because I built mine in a short period of time and it was the wrong people. No offense to any of you who are watching. So to summarize, I would say, don't worry about being on camera. If you don't like it, you can do off camera, a faceless channel. The only thing is that requires a lot more editing, and that takes time unless you can outsource that. So don't be shy about being on camera, because what? It's not like you're on TV and there's millions of people watching you. You have a dedicated audience who are just tuning into you, and they're there for you. And if a troll comes along, so what? You just block them from your channel. Easy as that. Done. So pick a format, learn to be comfortable, just be who you are, talk about what makes you passionate, and yeah, it'll happen. And you could do what I did and use the shorts thing and get a really fast following quick, but there's consequences to that. So now I'm going back to basics, doing long form videos. Started this channel. This channel used to be just my personal YouTube that I would promote films that I made or that I was working on, or just experimenting with editing and camera stuff. Never took it seriously, but now I'm revamping this channel to be more about creativity, cinematography, writing, photography, note-taking, like in terms of like journaling, pens and paper, software that I use for writing. And it's going to be a mishmash of a lot of things. Well, most of it is to help inspire people to be creative and to leave a legacy.
All right.